And let's begin the recording for the others later. And welcome to HBRV Lifestyle. We are live and we're answering your questions, but we have some things I want to cover first. Small little things. First off, there is a lot of folks out there that have, how do I put this politely? They believe that the information I'm giving to customers is hurting the dealership side of the business and the manufacturing side of the business. I don't think that's the case. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm right. I don't know. I seem to get a lot of thank yous. A lot of folks are purchasing their rigs this year, going out and enjoying camping, and they felt more empowered to make a good decision. So I'm just going to keep sticking with giving the information out, taking questions live. Larry, how you doing? Um, the other thing I really want to address is there seems to be this common thought pattern that every RV made is a pile of garbage. And this is simply untrue. Okay. Now, one thing that I covered in the podcast about 2 months ago was that the people that are very happy with their rigs, Mr. Anderson, I'm sorry, call you Neo. Anyway, I'm in a joking mood. Uh, Not everything's a pile of junk. Not everything's a pile of crap. The majority of RVs, in fact, the super majority of RVs, people are very happy with. I would say there's a bigger satisfaction rate than there is dissatisfaction. So for people to come online and basically state that all RVs are junk, all RVs are crap, is a knee jerk reaction to the problem we're having with people like Liz Amazing. There's bad news sells, death sells, or unalive sells. Anything negative in the media sells and creates dollars. Period. End of report. That's what generates money. Uh, OnlyFans, pornography, uh, big political news about an election, and this person's crooked, and this person's crooked. Crooked Joe Biden, the yellow haired piece Donald Trump. You got all this stuff that's going on, and there's so much noise going on in the industry and in the world that there are a lot of YouTubers out there that are missing out on money and missing out on revenue. With that being said, we cannot sit up here and say that every single RV that comes through a factory floor is a pile of crap. That's not a legitimate statement. Okay. Hello, Kathy Conrad. We got Mr. Anderson and Kathy Conrad from Idaho. Pennsylvania. Yes, my weekend is going really good. Camping in Pocahontas Mountain. Darn rain. Ugh. Well, from my family to all of you guys, may the 4th be with you. So, anyway, with that being said, I want to go ahead and get into some of the questions that I got this week. Got some really good stuff. Not that one. Not that one. Where are you? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Is a great question. And whoop. Okay. Dear HB, We saw the Facebook post you put up a couple of days ago showing the welding that Grand Design did for a customer uh, to fix their frame failure on their Momentum. It looks like to most of the people that responded to the post, I'm trying to leave out the bad words, uh, that the welds were really not that good. What is your real take on it? Because it seems like you haven't really spoken about it. Um, so I believe Grand Design RV has gotten to a point where they do not have the ability to fix these. I think from what I'm understanding from people that are actually customers at the factory talking to the warranty people, that they have so many of these claims going through that, pardon me, really bad today, that they may have up to a year backlog of work to do. And I guess there's also counterproductive stuff going on where people are not getting the full list of what's wrong with their fifth wheel. And so they walk in and basically blindside Grand Design. Now, I'm not on Grand Design's side with anything, okay? I'm not for them, I'm not against them. I'm for the customer, but there's a certain point in time where you can't just surprise. I went from just frame failure to I've got a laundry list 30 miles long ready for you. Pardon me. Hi, Thea, how you doing? Karen, how you doing? Hello from the free state of Wyoming. Please call Carson to have them buy back, not fix. That guy is not the best decision maker. Sonar Travels, you're funny. Um, so I'm not on either side, but I could tell you that those were very weak welds. That was a very weak fix. Talking to the customer in more detail, they didn't fix anything that they wanted addressed from the very beginning. So with that being said, it just goes to show you that the customer service level at Grand Design RV, according to customers, which I'm not a customer, this is just customers talking. Customers are basically saying that they're getting treated like basically an ugly stepchild, would be the polite way of saying it. They feel that Grand Design RV has basically abandoned them, abandoned their quest to be above everybody else when it comes to customer service. This is why Don Clark's job should be taken, because consumer confidence in the product is at an all-time low. And then at the same time, watch this, folks, Brinkley caught up to Grand Design in retail sales this year on fifth wheels. It's a brand new company. Now, we all know what I know about what's going to happen with Brinkley. But the reality is Brinkley is now going to surpass Grand Design in fifth wheel sales for the quarter, for this next segment of what they call stats survey. Great American RV treated me great. I'm very happy with them. Well, great. American RV is great. But I'm talking about Grand Design RV. Grand Design RV is allegedly treating people like absolute garbage. So just kind of proof in the pudding of how these welds are being put together and their fixes. So not good stuff. Okay. All right. Dear HB, we walked into a dealership last month looking to buy a motorhome cash and found nobody was willing to come down to our price. Now, I do understand, listening to your videos, your logic behind why dealerships will not negotiate a cash deal. But with so many dealerships suffering, why wouldn't they want the actual cash and try to hide it from the government? They could take a $50,000 or $60,000 loss on a motorhome that's sitting on their lot, and who cares if they're making money if they can just hide the cash and write the full invoice off on a loss on their taxes. I cannot understand why a dealership would not want to just pocket that money. I don't get it. Can you please explain it to me? Well, first off, it's illegal. Okay. Let's start with that. Number two, if you brought $75,000 or $100,000 or $250,000 in actual cash and they don't report you to the IRS that you gave them that cash in actual $100 bills, $20 bills, etc., that's a lot of jail time. Okay. Now, if you're selling let's say for example, you're selling a cheapy $7,000 or $8,000 trailer, that's a whole different ball game. First off, a motorhome, a brand new motorhome, the profit margin on the selling price of the motorhome is less than 2%. They are hoping, every motorhome dealership is hoping that you finance it. Because if you finance it, that's when they can get their margin back up to 6%. So 6% is not much on a $100,000 invoice motorhome. It's $6,000. Okay. $6,000 on a $100,000 motorhome is nothing. That's like me telling you, give me $100,000 and in a year I'll give you $6,000. You're not going to make that investment, right? But motorized, generally new motorhomes bring in trades. Okay. New motorhome sales, when new motorhome sales is doing well, it brings trade-ins. Trade-ins is where all the money and all the profit is in motorhomes. So I keep trying to tell people this, and I know it's not popular to hear, but if you're paying cash for a new RV, you're not going to get a good deal. Okay? There's three ways to make money in the RV industry. You can make it on the selling price of the RV. You can, or basically, if it costs you $100,000 to buy it and you sell it for 102, that's a $2,000 profit, right? Okay, that's about the norm right now in the RV industry on a new motorhome. Okay, but let's just use that as an example. So if you pay the 102, they make $2,000, and that's it. Okay, if you finance it, they can make between 2 and 7% of the amount financed, depending on the program, depending on the bank. There's banks that pay flats, there's banks that do markups, stuff like that. Everybody pays the same retail rate though. I'll give you an example. When rate was 7.99, that's a retail rate. That's not wholesale, that's retail, but it still was 1% less than the credit unions. You know, we have to stop this craziness about some of the stuff. Like I had a guy that literally reached out to me, called me over the phone. His credit union is at 11% interest. I got him approved at 8.74. Okay. He walked away from the deal because, well, you're marking up the rate. Well, in this case, I wasn't. In this case, I was getting a 4% flat from the bank I was using. I showed him I wasn't marking up the rate, that I was actually getting a flat. But because in his mind, I was making money on the financing, he walked away from the deal. He'd rather pay 11% with his own credit union than have a better interest rate with the dealership. Somebody make sense of that for me. Okay. It's hard to do, right? Hi, Wendy from New Jersey. Oh, thank you so much, Keeley Pack. Really appreciate it. Over 10,000 cash require federal form to be filled out. Absolutely, one has been. It is if you, Donnie Cole. It depends on how you set up the dealership, right? So most dealers, because they're in the dealership world, there's something called PAC, which stands for profit against commission. Okay. And then there's how much it costs us to get the RV ready. Okay. The reality is if we're at less than 2%, that's where we're at. We're at a less than 2% gross profit margin on the selling price of new motorhomes. That's a fact. Okay. So if you're not financing the rig or if you don't have a trade in, realistically, the dealership is stuck at less than 2%. If they can make, if let's say you're financing 100 grand and you're getting the loan through some kind of credit union or bank and you're making 4% on the amount financed, that's $4,000. Now you're 6 grand over invoice. If you can get a trade and get it somewhere around wholesale book, back or a little above wholesale book, depending on the situation, and you can go make another 4 or 5 or 6 grand on the trade. Now that motorhome turned from a 2% margin to a 6 to 12% margin. But it's all relative, right? So it has to be symbiotic. There has to be that movement. And right now there's not that movement. And now it didn't used to be this way. It used to be with motorhomes, with brand new motorhomes. It used to be that the profit margin was its normal 8%. Okay. The normal profit margin on a motorhome when I got into the business on this based on the selling price was 8 to 10%. That was 15 years ago. Okay. So the reality is because the motorhomes have gone up so significantly in cost. So like there's a 31 MB Coachman Freelander. It's a common floor plan that's sold very well. We would sell that motorhome brand new back in 2019 for $79,000. And we would make between 7 and 10% as our gross margin over invoice. So if someone paid cash for that motorhome, we still made a good spread. Okay. Now, that same motorhome that let's say cost us $72,000 to buy it from the factory back in 2019 now costs closer to $110,000. So you're talking about what? A 46% increase in price? That's why the profit margin has shrunk so badly, because now, unless you have something that is just so necessity in this industry, like new Class B motorhomes, luxury diesel pushers for the ultra rich. If you are a regular Joe, you're not spending $112,000 on a Class C motorhome. You're not. Okay. You'll pay 79, but you're not going to pay 112 for that same motorhome. That's ridiculous. So new motorhomes have come to a crawl unless there's something absolutely unique. Like the Georgetown motorhomes from Forest River have kind of innovated themselves. I'm not necessarily the biggest fan. I sell them. I mean, I'm not going to say they're horrible, but they're not great either. But they're very innovative. They're very good looking and they have a lot of stuff to them. So people seem to be attracted to them and will pay the 179, 180 grand for it. But Class C motorhomes, it's a whole different ball game. Yeah, Don, I understand that, and that's the problem. See, if if you don't price these motorhomes at 2% or less, you're you're going to cost yourself more money than you will if you keep it on the floor and try to make more. So if you go try to make, let's say, a 10% margin on a $100,000 entry level Class C, you're never going to sell it. You have to give the people incentive with the high interest rates and the high cost of living. You have to move the unit. You can't sit there and let it sit on your lot for 200, 300 days. The interest payments on $100,000 is ridiculous. You can't lose money at it, but that's where dealerships across the United States are starting to not even worry about the word pack anymore. They're solely worried about cash flow. Positive cash flow. Profit will come later down the road. Positive cash flow is the goal right now. And that's just kind of how it is. Now, it isn't that way with trailers. It's not that way with travel trailers. It's not that way necessarily with the majority of fifth wheels. We're just talking specifically about motorhomes. Your travel trailers, your fifth wheels, your toy haulers, they're still 6 to 8% over invoice as a basic margin, okay, as a gross margin. But again, you can't make as much finance reserve. You can't make as much money in the financing with a $30,000 trailer than you can with a $100,000 motorhome. So obviously they have to, make up the margin. Well, the problem is nobody wants to stay in business, Donnie. That's the biggest problem. No one wants to stay in business because business is so slow everywhere. You have to turn the inventory. You forget profit for a second, okay? Profit has been thrown out the window for the last 18 months. For the last 18 months, if a dealership says they're making money, they're doing it to save face because the majority of dealers are not making money. Okay? All they're worried about, everyone from the top of the food chain, which is Camping World, all the way to the bottom of the food chain, which is mom and pop, only care about turning the inventory. It is so expensive to carry the inventory because interest rates are up. Curtailment payments are starting to be asked of sooner, and they're not cutting anybody a break. And if they are cutting people a break, they're cutting them off of new inventory. So you have to realize that no matter how you look at it, right now it's about gaining market share. It's all about gaining market share in turns. You got to turn the inventory 3 times this year. And if you just let it sit on your lot, you're never going to do anything with it. Okay? I'm going to tell you that if you go to a motorhome specialist in Texas, which is now an RVR or Blue Compass company, they're still at 2.5%, 3% margin on the front end. And everybody's competing with them. In a good economy, they're making 6 to 8%. They are about turns. Turn, 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 turn. The more you can turn, the more volume you can do, the more positive cash flow you can have, the more you can stay in business until the economy turns around. If you want your stuff to sit on the lot for the next year or two and you don't want to sell it because you're not making your normal margin, your butt's going to be out of business anyway. So do you want to survive or do you want to go ahead and go out of business? I think that most owners are choosing survival. Okay. Let's see what we got. Hello. We're YouTube videos this week about Brinkley. Josh's video was super long with great info, I think. What do I think about? Well, congratulations on your Brinkley. I don't know. See, my problem, Scott, is I have too much inside information about what's going on in the industry. And I have been told by my sources, at least the ones I have left, to please kind of keep it on the low. I announced it already through my podcast, what was going on and what was in the works. I can't talk about it yet, but I will say that, at least you're getting Brinkley now instead of a year from now. Because I have a strong feeling, like most people know, I have a strong feeling that by next year, Brinkley's going to be way different than it is today. So, but congratulations. I don't know. I think Brinkley's the same exact thing as everything else. It's the same as a Riverstone, same as a DRV mobile suite, same as this, same as that. They just decide to make the lipstick bigger with the pig. Okay. That's what I really think. I think Brinkley's just another pig with lipstick. Same with when Voltage came out, same with Grand Design came out, same when Arctic Fox came out, same with Outdoors RV. They all do some things really good and they all do things really poorly. Nobody's perfect. There is no such thing as the perfect RV. There's no such thing as a perfect constructed RV. No such thing in anything in that case. So, now there you go, Donnie Cole. There's a product that people are still making $20,000 on. So there you go. So that guy's paying probably 15 to 20 grand over invoice, and that's because it's a hot product that everybody's selling. So that's where the profit is. The profit's all in Brinkley right now. If you're a Brinkley dealer, you're making 20 grand a pop. So, it's just kind of the way it is. So Jeff Watson wants to know what mid-profile fifth wheel would you buy to replace a Grand Design. I would stick with anything Rockwood Flagstaff, Keystone Cougar. I would go Arctic Fox. I would go. Well, I wouldn't do that anymore because Sundance is now a toilet flusher. But mainly like Rockwood Flagstaff, Cougar. um, Arctic Fox. Those will be the first four I'd look at, and then just look at others after that. Hey, Greg Lynch, how you doing? Peter, how you doing? Oh God, storm's going to hit. Oh my God. Stay safe, Peter. How do I reach research investor in improving a campground? I don't know. I've been thinking about opening a campground. Donnie, Brinkley does not have the heaviest frame being built. It's the same weighted frame as Riverstone, Mobile Suites, and Redwood. It's the same heavy frame they're starting to put on the big, huge upper heavy Montana. It's the same one that they use, same size chassis they use for the Alliance Valor toy hauler, the same they use for the Riverstone toy hauler, the same they use, same size frame, same weight frame. Now, they may add some extra things because one thing that will tell you about all the fifth wheel manufacturers is the frame itself is developed from the manufacturer to the OEM, which in this case would be Lippert, because Brinkley is built on a Lippert chassis, right? So that design is unique compared to what the others would be. Riverstone does it differently than Mobile Suites. Mobile Suites does it differently than Redwood. All of them do it differently than Brinkley. It doesn't mean one is better than the other. They're all heavy duty, they're all heavy coaches, and they all put a big frame on the sucker, unlike some other manufacturers are having problems, right? So the reality is nobody's better when it comes to the frame. It's just a philosophy of what they feel, where they want to put the water tanks. Okay. So, in the engineering process of any fifth wheel, any travel trailer, each manufacturer has their own kind of set of how they want to place things. How big of a water tank? Where do they want to put the water tank? Where are they going to put the refrigerator? How heavy are the appliances they're going to put in? Are they going to put them in a slide? Are they going to make a bigger slide for each one? Where are they going to have the attachments for everything from the washer dryer hookup to maybe where they have the television? Are they going to have a front office? Things of that nature. So everybody has a different philosophy on where they're going to put things and how they're going to deal with them. Even though everybody pretty much builds the same 5 or 6 floor plans and there's nothing innovative about them, okay, they might change the wallpaper, they might change what television brand they use, things of that nature. But nobody's come out with something that's absolutely so stunning that it changes the market. I mean, they can market it like that. They can give me aesthetic stuff. But let me tell you something. If you listen to JD from Big Truck Big RV, and I'm starting to say that JD, I feel like I'm rubbing off on JD, even though I think that's probably a little exaggerated, obviously. But if you listen to what JD is talking about, he even says like this aesthetic crap that everybody wants to pound their chest about doesn't mean anything about the longevity of the fifth wheel or the longevity of the travel trailer. I would pick Forest River, Patrick, for Super C, or I would choose Renegade. Renegade is an amazing Super C. Finally, someone said it. Brinkley is just a shiny new toy right now. It is, and that shiny new toy is attracting a lot of attention, not just from customers, but from we'll just say there's some money out there. If you get my drift. I'm happy you caught me too, Patty. How are you doing? Brinkley's pricing is way too high to have vinyl wrapped styles and decals on Gelco. See, I haven't gotten a chance to go out and do a Brinkley. Now, ever since I made the announcement I made a couple months ago, well, no, I'm sorry, a month and a half ago, they don't want dealers won't let me near their Brinkley products because they're afraid that they'll get in deep trouble with Brinkley. So, say la vie. I'm gonna have to wait for a time where I can go see a customer's one. So I can't give you everything. Outdoor RV does make their own frames. There's a lot of companies that don't use OEMs, but the frame doesn't matter. And if you could build your own frame and it still be crap, you know what I mean? It's all in the engineering. Outdoors RV has their own philosophy, which is a good philosophy. I think Outdoors RV is one of the better travel trailers built in the industry. They still have their issues. They still have their problems because there's still earthquakes on wheels. but they're pretty good at trying to limit the earthquake. So I do endorse them. They're a really good product. But so is Keystone Cougar, so is Riverstone, so is a bunch of other products. Stuff I do sell, stuff I don't sell. There's a lot of great products out there that are really well done. Okay, cool, Patty. That's cool. Jayco travel trailers. So I'm okay with the Jayco Eagle. The Jayco Eagles are really good. They've always been good for years. I wish I could sell them, but I can't because Jayco is very specific about keeping their older dealer base together and not try to flood the market with multiple dealers and one what we call BTA. Okay. Um, as far as the J flights are cheap stick and tin product like Wildwood, like Springdale and Hideout. It's just their entry level cheapy stick and tin product. It's their market share product. But I think the Jayco Eagle is a really good one. It's if I wasn't shopping for a Jayco, let's say I didn't like the Jayco Eagle for whatever reason, interior design, maybe the graphics, maybe you just don't like where certain things are at. You look at Rockwood Flagstaff by Forest River, Coachman Freedom Express. You can look at Keystone Cougar. You can look at pardon me, boy. You can look at, I'm trying to think, I'm sorry, rattling things off. You can look at the Paradigm Travel Trailer by Alliance. Lots of products to look at that same level. You could also look at Surveyor by Forest River. You can look at some of the East to West product, which I think is Delta or Alta or something like that. Forgive me if I mess that up, but there's a lot of stuff in that same product line. When you're in that product middle area where you're fiberglass, your aluminum side, your aluminum framed, a lot of them build them the same and they hold up pretty well. Um, does everyone like Brinkley use wood inserts in their braces? I hear about others doing this. There's nothing wrong with it, Scott. There's nothing wrong with it. I mean, I'd rather screw into wood than try to screw into aluminum studs. So I'd rather do that than screw into Luan or screw into ins. I don't mind the wood inserts. The wood inserts are actually a really good thing. So I wouldn't worry about that part. Major YouTuber referenced an RV dealership in Florida recently. I went to that RV dealership website, and every RV has two prices, cash and credit. The cash price was $1,000 more on every RV. Is this going? That's true, man. That's going to be a new norm for a while until the economy turns around. When the economy turns around and we can go back to making a 6 to 8% margin, then you won't even notice whether it's a cash or finance deal. See, if a dealership in this industry can get to that 6 to 8% markup on a travel trailer or a motorhome, and in some cases, depending on the invoice, if they can get up to that 9 or 10%. Now, you guys got to understand, I use percentages because just to give you guys an idea, because everybody goes, oh my God, somebody's making money on me. Oh my God. Well, yeah, they got to make money to stay in business, right? To keep their doors open and their employees fed, they got to keep a positive cash flow. They got to try to make some money, right? But the reality is to attract people into the dealership, to attract people to finance. There's gimmicks out there, lots of them. Okay. If you can get to that, when the industry turns around, when the economy turns a corner, and we start seeing everybody giving that 25% off MSRP, 28% off MSRP, and we go back to that 6, 8, 9% margin, then you won't even notice that anymore. There won't be a cash versus finance price anymore. It'll be one price no matter if you finance or pay cash. And then you'll be able to go, well, I'm going to offer you $1,000 less because I'm paying cash. And now the dealership might go, okay, so I go from maybe an 8% margin to a 6.5, done, right? So it'll turn back around from that. Right now, it's just so gimmicky out there. It's ridiculous. Jeff, I think originally, here's what I think about JD. I think JD I think his intentions were good, and I've said this in on my podcast. Okay, I gave him a lot of crap, and I've given JD a lot of crap in general. Okay, um, I think JD is an independent for the most part. I think that his because he's sponsored by eTrailer.com, which sells Lippert parts. I think the biggest problem that JD had was he went to with the intention of doing a good thing with the Lippert interview, and it kind of backfired. Okay. And I think slowly but surely, I think JD has kind of quietly realized that. And I think the program that he's launching right now, or that he's trying to launch to basically get like an basically the best way to say it is like a certification. Like, you know how they put certified green or RVIA seal, which RVIA and RVDA and all those things are all like lobbyist groups, realistically. Okay. If you want to break it down to the basics, they're lobbyist groups for the RV industry. So if JD is successful in getting some of these manufacturers on board of the program he wants to do to basically be a sign off, and it's going to be some time before he has it launched. He already has one manufacturer on board, and no, it's not Grand Design. But, he's reached out to me. We've talked on Instagram. He sent me an email or two. We've kind of stayed in contact with it. And I gave him my thoughts on how he should tweak it. And he's making tweaks daily. And, I think he's got the right intention. Intentions are always good. I think this time he's got some really good follow through with it. And I think his last video prior to him doing this is just proof that I think that guys are starting to realize, like, I'm not getting shut down when I'm talking about this stuff. I'm not getting shut down. Okay. And the reason why I'm not getting shut down is because I truly believe from conversations I've had with people on the other side of the industry, not just the consumer side, but on the factory side, I think people realize, like, my intention is not to bury or throw throw the RV industry into hellfire, right? It's to educate people. It's to get the truth about things. It's about you know getting the manufacturer to be more transparent, getting people to be more transparent about what goes on. And so I think JD has the same thought process. I just think he has to take his own path. Not everybody's like me where I have no care in the world. You can come and they could come and tell me, like they've done in the past, where they've had people attack my character because I said certain things. Don't bother me. Go ahead, troll me. It don't matter to me, right? So hopefully that kind of helps you out. Okay. Earwax, yeah. Do you think Grand Design is going to sue your buddy from Minnesota? I do think so. I think Greg Carson has a lawsuit coming. I think he's going to get slapped really hard. I think the biggest difference is I think he's prepared for it. I think he knows it's coming, and they're going to attack him, and they're going to attack his character very very hard, and they're going to you just I give him a lot of credit. He's got some big huevos for doing what he said he was going to do, and I appreciate it. Do I think that it's going to be something that is going to like be so impactful that everybody's going to know what's going on? Probably not. Probably going to get slapped with a lot of things. I think Liz Amazing is going to get slapped with a major lawsuit against her because of some of the lies she has told about things. I think that Greg's going to get in trouble for telling the truth. So I think it's kind of like there's a line, and sometimes when we step over that line, we have to realize something might be coming down the pipeline. Whether it's fair, whether it's right or not, is not for me to judge. I think Greg in his mind's doing the right thing. I think his intentions are pure. I think his intentions are correct. I think his intentions are right. And I think he's prepared to face the full wrath of the consequences if they come. And that's all you can ask a man to do. Most people want to do better when given a chance. It's those who don't choose to see the issues and act like everyone else is crazy or wrong. He needs to sue them for Anti-slap if the yeah, it's going to be a back and forth. He's prepared for it. I'm telling you, he's prepared for it, and he's prepared for it, and he's confident, and I think he's going to be fine. You can tell in his actions, his mannerisms, ever since he did the first episode that he did, being the exposing everything to his last one the other day. You can tell he's calm, he's relaxed, he feels prepared, and I think he's going to fight it to the bitter end, and I love it. If he fights it to the bitter end, whether he loses or he wins, you got to appreciate the fight. You really got to appreciate the fight. You got to appreciate the battle. With all the negative social media coverage and customer complaints, you really think there's a chance the RV will change? This is a new phenomenon or just a bump? Here's the thing, Patrick. I really truly believe in my heart that the whole thing it revolves around grand design. Grand it the so the grand design, because of the alleged way, and I have to say allegedly because it comes from customers. There's nothing been proven in the court of law or anything of that nature. But every customer that I've talked to that has bought a Grand Design fifth wheel, now several reflections are coming out of the woodwork. It's the way they're being treated. And what's going on is most of the negative press is against Grand Design. Not all of it. There's some here and there about Jayco. There's some here and there about Montana. But when you listen to the end of it, most of the time people feel like they're satisfied with the outcome. There's very few people that are not happy with the outcome with the other manufacturers. Okay. Whether that's right or not is totally different. I have one person that sent me a non-disclosure agreement on a non-disclosure agreement from Keystone, which is different than the older one I had, which I'm going to read on the podcast, completely redacted because obviously I don't want to have the customer's private information out there. But I can tell that there's a lot of fear out there about repeated courses. And I can tell you from three separate conversations with three separate factory uh, production people that I've had this week that every one of them know what's going on with Grand Design and they don't want to repeat the mistake of the customer service problem they're having. Does that mean that they'll all be successful? No. Will the super majority of them be successful in cleaning this up? Yes. But until people understand, until the Armageddon people, until the folks on the Armageddon side of the RV YouTuber, the clout chasers, the people that want to just do nothing but clickbait you, tell lies, tell fabrications, not give you 100% of the truth, not talk about the context, until those folks get ignored. And then on the other side, what I call the corporate RV dealership YouTubers, the Sunshine and Rainbows, until they get more transparent and stop acting like a bunch of corporate stooges, until those two sides can stop contradicting themselves, I think it'll be a while. And I think that's one of the reasons why they come to me right now. I think that's one of the reasons why I've gotten a lot of these phone calls and why I've had a lot of these conversations is because I'm not on either side. I'll tell you both sides of it. It doesn't matter to me because I've told everybody the sides of it for 15 years, so it doesn't matter to me, right? So I think once we get to that level where people ignore the Armageddon people and people ignore the sunshine and rainbows and get the customer facts. Greg Carson, mentioning Greg Carson, Greg's a good guy to listen to because he'll tell you all the roundabout ways of the education he's gone through. If you guys are part of some of these Facebook groups, including the one Pete and Lisa West listen to, you're getting customer information directly from the customer, not from somebody trying to make money on the customer, right? Those are the type of things I think are going to help the industry overall. Having more actual brand ambassadors is going to help. So I think once we get some more people right here in the middle with me, which I think we're going to get there, I really truly believe we'll get there. I think we'll have a better thing. And thank you so much, Cole. I really appreciate it. I'm sorry I didn't say something earlier, but Donnie Cole, thank you so much for the donation. Really appreciate it. Could everyone who got any value from this chat please give it a thumbs up and subscribe? HB won't ask you to do that. Thanks, Blair. Appreciate you. Greg is tearing his new reflection apart. He's not finding good things. Says it's going back to the factory. I don't blame him. Check out his merch too. Thank you, Karen. Yes, guys, you know what? If you guys do enjoy the content, I know I don't normally do it, but please like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. I really want to try to get to 100,000 subscribers by the end of the year. I know that's a far fetched goal, but it's something I'd really like to get to. I'd like to get to 7 to 10 million views a month. I think if I can get to that level, we'll get a better education to customers. And the only way the YouTube algorithm shares stuff like this is if you guys like and subscribe. Okay. And I would appreciate if you bought some shirts and spread the word. In fact, real quick, today I met a guy. He came up here from Las Vegas. Great guy. Brought his wife. They were looking at toy haulers. Then they went into travel trailers, and we had some pretty good conversations. But the first thing he said to me was he knew who I was because I guess he watched one of these live streams. Not sure if he's watching now, but he watched one of these live streams because it was shared to him by his next door neighbor. So spread the word, spread the word. I was just texting that. Carson had an issue taking total advantage of the rig tipping. Wasn't a big deal, then folds, then buys another and says it is great. Now picking on every little issue and stuff. Hey, Jenny, yeah, that's understandable, but that's why, like I said, there's going to be issues with Greg, and that's it. That's okay, Theo. I don't blame you. I'm starting to cut back on the cussing on the podcast. In fact, the last episode I just did, I mean, I think 4 out of the last 5 I didn't cuss, so I'm working on it. Screaming bloody murder, now saying it's going back to the factory with his new demands, now possible facing lawsuit. What a Jerry Springer show he's looking for. We'll see. I mean, I mean, Jenny, I can understand why you feel that way. I can. Thank you, Mr. Anderson. But he wanted to move it. Yeah, I mean, if you feel that, Jenny, I can't blame you for feeling that way about Greg. Okay, there's a lot of people that reached out to me and have told me their opinion. I'm not going to I'm not going to take a side in that. I'm going to sit back and kind of see how it unfolds and see if I can gather some information out of it that's helpful to you guys. But I mean, going on the DUI attorney guy right after Liz Amazing, I mean, I mean, I can understand why they both did it, but at the same time it's like there was other shows that would have been better suited for the RV industry to go on to. But outside that, well, I'm just going to sit back and see how it all comes out. Ohio in the house, James Striblin. Tell like it is. I am. No worries. Thank you, Gabe. Appreciate you. Gentle Stone, again, everybody has the right to feel the way they do. Okay. Um, yeah, I mean, Jenny, again, I don't blame you guys for feeling this way. Let's not dwell on Greg. Okay. The video is not about Greg. The live stream's not about Greg. Okay. The live stream's about answering questions and things of that nature. Okay. So let's not talk about Greg anymore. Okay. Greg's a good guy. He's not a bad guy. Okay. He's a good man. He's been put in a situation. He put himself in a situation in 2 different areas. And I think really, truly, he knows he deserves a lot of the backlash for what he did. He's said that several times on his videos. Let's just kind of like not worry about it because, um, that's kind of what we need to be at, right? Okay. We got 12 minutes, so let me see if I can find another question. Let's go here and go. I know you sent me one. Oh. Okay, this was a great one, and this I'm gonna redact a lot of the stuff, but this was sent to me, and unfortunately, I missed out on reading it um, because it came in right as I was uh, exiting the live stream. It says you have mentioned a few times that NADA slash JD Power has 2 sets of book value slash charts. One set that everyone can see, and the other one that only people with subscriptions, those who make the loans, and those who make lots of buys can see. Can you tell us if the prices and the public view are in any way close or even relative to the prices that are seen by the subscribed service? I'm asking because I see the prices people are asking for their used RVs on Facebook, and they are double or more than the book value on JD Power. Perhaps you could make an episode by using an example of a 3 to 5 year old camper for your choosing. Also, do you or would you consider doing consulting for individuals purchasing used RVs to determine realistic prices? This may be a conflict of interest, but being 1.2 billion miles away, it may not. um, Look, the retail book, when you look at used RVs, the retail book is very close, okay? But see, what happens when I pull up JD Power and I look at wholesale, the majority, I'd say the super majority of lenders, including the majority of the credit unions that I use for financing, use the wholesale book. But if you look at the low retail is really close to the actual retail on the banking side. So with the two books, you got a wholesale and a retail. That's on the book that I can see, the banks can see, the lenders can see. That we have to have certain requirements, including a paid subscription to see. Then you got JD Power, which is the one that's public, everybody can see. Just like KBB.org. When you want to go look up your car, well, my KBB says my trade-in's worth this. But then you look at the wholesale book, which is the KBB lending book, and it's totally different. Okay. The biggest difference is a lot of people out there owe way more money than what these things are worth, because just like with a lot of houses, just like with a lot of cars, just like with a lot of boats, from 2020 to 2022, everybody overpaid, and there was a big correction in the market in March of this year. That being said, would I give people, would I consult for people? Absolutely. If you guys wanted me to consult, I would charge you a consultant fee. Okay. I wouldn't make it like astronomical, maybe $20 or $25 or whatever. And you can send me the info of what you're trying to buy, and I can give you an idea of what it's really worth. And would that be a conflict of interest? No. I wouldn't consider it a conflict because you're hiring me as a consultant. Um, the reality is I would give you a good idea, because see, a lot of times, you know, and the problem is with older units, I'm going to give you a very blanketed opinion that isn't based on financing, but I would be more than happy to do that. I probably am thinking about doing an actual, instead of an episode on the podcast, I'm thinking about doing an education video here on this channel, on this YouTube channel, to talk about that kind of stuff. So, um, yeah, yeah, Theo, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, guys. It's a good guy. That would be great. Like you screen sharing, you browsing marketplace and such to help people find a good method for purchasing. Absolutely, I'd love to do it. Where's my Star Wars shirt? Well, if you notice, you guys see that the little curtains back here are closed. That's not normal, right? Okay. So last night, my wife surprised me. Flew all the way from Oregon, landed in Las Vegas, took an Uber up here, got here around like 11 o'clock last night and shocked the crap out of me. And she took all my clothes and went to the laundromat, cleaned the trailer. In fact, the trailer's the cleanest it's ever been. And did all my laundry and did all that stuff. And she's laying in bed right now, probably reading a book or something. And so I didn't have a chance to wear a Star Wars shirt today. I wish I did. I was going to, and I still may before we go to bed, because we were watching the Clone Wars movie before I came here live. So very cool. In fact, she's walking by. She's trying to hide from everybody. Anyway, she doesn't want to be seen. She doesn't. That's why I buy used. Yeah. What would be a good percentage to take off MSRP? Right now, it doesn't. That's Willard. There's the MSRP game is so screwed up. It depends on the manufacturer. 20% can be good on some stuff. 40% can be on others. It really just depends. It depends on the product. If it's usually general rule of thumb is 30 to 35%. That's the general rule of thumb. Oh, look at that. She tossed me. Um, she tossed me her favorite shirt. Now she used to wear this one a lot. She loves this shirt. This is the Darth Vader shirt she got me in Mexico a while back ago. Right? It was Mexico, right? No? Was it Vegas? It was Ventura. Okay, it was Ventura. I could have sworn, which one did you give me in Mexico? Or was that the Captain America shirt? Oh, it was the Captain America shirt. Oh, okay. Captain America shirt. Uh, Everybody says hello. Speak. Speak. Tell me. No, tell me what you wanted to tell me. Oh, thanks. Uh, yeah, it would be a nice service. May the fourth be with you. Absolutely, may the fourth be with all of you. Oh, I won't, Donnie. I'll figure it out, but we'll figure out slowly but surely. We'll do it as a donation or something. Yeah, it was a great surprise. They all want to meet you. No, she doesn't like being on camera, guys. We I had the kids on the podcast once. It was a great experience, but I didn't put them on camera because they didn't want to be on camera. Well, Joanna did, but Brenda didn't. In one of your videos this week, you mentioned getting you feedback that you would return to JD. What's he looking for? He's just looking for some feedback on his program that he's doing. It's really good. Go ahead, you go by. The program itself is basically a quality control program where he signs off, or somebody in the organization he wants to create signs off on it. If you go to his channel, go to Big Truck Big RV, okay? Go to his community tab. Don't go to watch the videos. Go over to his community tab where he puts posts, and you can read about the program he's coming up with. Yeah, it was really nice. It was really nice. Everybody says hi. That's a Dark Vader shirt. That's right. There we go. She does have great taste. Yeah, but MSRP is helpful when it comes to financing. MSRP is kind of helpful with a lot of things, but right now it's so screwed up compared to what it used to be. It used to be very easy to do, so that way everybody can kind of get a generalized idea of what kind of profit margins going on, but it's so screwed up now. It'll get back to normal. It'll get back to the point where MSRP will mean something and help with the industry, but it's going to probably be a year or two before that happens. Cool shirt, and thanks for still doing the podcast now. And thank you so much, Sonar Travels. Drake or Kendrick? Kendrick. I'm old school, baby. Mike God, great talking. I don't know. I don't understand that. S Duke Zero City S. Okay, so we still got 2 minutes. I got enough to do one more question. Uh, let's see. Got a bunch of them. Okay, so this was not a question. This was something that was written to me, I guess, through a Facebook group. But as you guys know, I got out of most of the Facebook groups except for a few. Thank you for everything you do. Thank you for everything you do, team. I'm tired of seeing posts, advice, and videos all over the web and social media that either defend a product or excuse a product as well they are all crap, so well as they are all crap or they're all great. Also, the complaints that come from people that get mixed in with serious problems people are having. Thus, the name of the group, Major Issues. So that's what he's talking about. The point I'm making is the web needs to go to a database for all RVs and complaints and a moderating team to separate the complaints of severity into groups and brands. If not, so much information gets lost in noise. Something similar to the group we're in to benefit all RV buyers and owners to give the whole industry accountability issues. For example, I'm not sure anybody has a real grasp on how much more prominent frame failure is with Grand Design than they are other brands. If we don't, I'm not sure we will ever see the change. And thanks for being you, HB. Thanks for being you, HB. So yeah, I appreciate all that stuff, guys. I really do. I really appreciate that stuff. Um, you're very much welcome, Kathy. So thank you so much for the support. Thank you so much. No cold beverage tonight. I want to, Theo, but no cold beverage tonight, unfortunately. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, welcome, Boredom Academy. Welcome. So when you're starting negotiating a sale, you start. No, you don't start MSRP. There's always the MSRP is a number that's realistically in the RV industry mostly for financing purposes. It's more about financing and more about insurance. Those are the two things MSRP is for. Nobody outside of a few knuckleheads during COVID sold anything at sticker. Everything on a selling price. When you see a sales price online on an RV, a new one, that's not MSRP. Okay, the slashed out number at the top is considered the MSRP. MSRP realistically could be on financing reasons and beyond insurance purposes, really. It mostly used to be used as a barometer to kind of get a customer an idea of what kind of discount they're looking for, what kind of discount they can expect. And that was mostly because back then the internet was not as prominent as it is now. Most guys would start at sticker because of the way different things work, getting customer out of trades, getting a customer out of a loan, things like that. But now things are negotiated differently and done differently because it's more, for me at least, it's more of a direct transaction where you actually are kind of already divulging everything the customer needs to know to get going. You're welcome, Jenny. Really appreciate you. Thank you for the support. No one pays for it. He's trying to do it for free. I told him he needs a charge, but that's a different story. Another great week of HB. Keep up the hard work you're doing. Thank you, No Montour. Appreciate you. I joined a Facebook group for the model travel trailer I wanted. When I bought the Class C, I created my own group for the model. Perfect. That's great, Patty. You're welcome, Mr. Anderson. Nobody starts a sticker. Thank you so much, Karen. Appreciate you. Mr. Anderson, I would tell you that it would be Geico and Progressive are the two I mostly recommend to people. State Farm does okay. AAA is a little expensive, but Geico and Progressive are pretty good with RVs. So anyway, I am gonna go finish up the movie with my wife, and you guys have a great night. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget to spread the word. And hey, when you're out camping this summer, wear that HBRV lifestyle hat. People will start wondering, what's that? And they'll start a good conversation with you guys. Have a great night. Enjoy, and thanks again. Well, Jeff, thank you.